Rage. Rishi shows disdain for Boris when Sunak disregards PM's plan. Rishi Sunak is facing a fresh clash with Boris Johnson after he was accused of being responsible for blocking progress on tackling climate change. The Prime Minister has made combating global warming a key issue of his premiership. With Britain hosting the UN COP26 climate change summit later this year, Mr. Johnson is eager for the UK to lead the way in shifting towards sustainability. However, the Treasury is coming under pressure for failing to set out its funding plan to help the country shift to net zero carbon emissions. The government has committed that by 2050 the UK will be carbon neutral. Mr. Johnson has said funding is central to the green agenda. He said earlier this week cash is one of the big commitments to change in 4 specific areas. Listing the aims, he said, coal, we want the developed world to kick the coal habit entirely by 2030 and the developing world by 2040. Cars, we want the world to follow the UK lead and abandon fossil fuel internal combustion engine machines. Cash, we want the richest nations which have historically produced so much of the world's carbon to recommit to supporting the rest of the planet to go green with funds of $100 billion a year. Trees, we want 26 Colombian pesos to commit to restoring nature and habitat and ending the massacre of the forests because trees are among our best natural defenses against climate change. Government ministers have complained Mr. Sunak's department are failing to sign off on plans to help reach the net zero goal. Business Secretary Kwasi Kwarteng complained publicly on Monday crucial documents including the Heat and Buildings Strategy, which propose a timescale for the replacement of gas boilers, have not been published due to a lack of Treasury approval. The government had promised the documents would be made public in March. Mr. Kwarteng told a program on Monday he was very keen to see it published because I think that will set out a number of options. He added, there is a transition and that's something that we're focused on and we want to try and help people make that transition. We've got a heat and buildings strategy that is going to come out very soon. A spokesman for the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy said, we have previously consulted on plans for a clean heat grant scheme to support consumers make the transition to low-carbon heating. Further detail on scheme design will be published in due course. Opposition MPs have also accused Mr. Sunak of not giving the necessary funding to match Mr. Johnson's ambitions. The blockage on money is at the root of all of this. Even when the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy does produce policies, they go to the Treasury and they just get a big black hole and you never hear any more about them, Darren Jones, the Labour MP who chairs the Commons Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy Committee, told. The Treasury has defended its commitment to Mr. Johnson's green agenda in light of the criticisms. A Treasury source said, the government has mobilised £12 billion of taxpayers' money in the last 18 months on green priorities. The transition to net zero is an absolute priority for this government. The UK is also a world leader in green finance, with the Chancellor publishing the UK's debut sovereign green bond and a world-first green savings bond earlier this year. The COP is the supreme decision-making body of the convention. All states that are parties to the convention are represented at the COP, at which they review the implementation of the convention and any other legal instruments that the COP adopts and take decisions necessary to promote the effective implementation of the convention, including institutional and administrative arrangements. A key task for the COP is to review the national communications and emission inventories submitted by parties. Based on this information, the COP assesses the effects of the measures taken by parties and the progress made in achieving the ultimate objective of the convention. The COP meets every year, unless the parties decide otherwise. The first COP meeting was held in Berlin, Germany in March, 1995. The COP meets in Bonn, the seat of the Secretariat, unless a party offers to host the session. Just as the COP presidency rotates among the 5 recognized UN regions, that is, Africa, Asia, Latin America and the Caribbean, Central and Eastern Europe and Western Europe and others, there is a tendency for the venue of the COP to also shift among these groups.